Hi, my name is Emer, and today I'm going to go in depth with my lesson plan presentation. First of all, the teacher that I interviewed for our community-based project is Miss Elmore. A teaching issue that she faces in her classroom is holding students' attention. The technology tools that are utilized in her classroom are iPads and a projector. She believes that the use of technology such as iPads makes teaching more difficult for her because students become so accustomed to the fast paced and entertaining aspects of iPads that they are not focused when she is teaching. Students in her classroom often use the iPads to take accelerating read tests over books they have read, and they use the iPads for IXLs. However, since many of them are already accustomed with iPads, they are quickly sidetracked and tempted to use the device for other activities, including playing games or browsing YouTube for videos. Miss Elmore's students are between the ages of 6 and 7 years old, and they are in first grade. The lesson that I designed for Ms. Elmore is specifically made for math class and aligns with the Common Core state standard that basically says that first grade students will be able to add and subtract within 20, demonstrating computational fluency for addition and subtraction within 10. Now I'm going to discuss the technological resources that I think would be really beneficial in helping Ms. Elmore keep her students' attention in class so that the math lesson will run smoothly. First is using Kahoot. When there are 23 students in a classroom, it is challenging for the teacher to keep an eye on every student's use of the iPad. By playing a Kahoot game as a class, students will also be less tempted to do other things on their iPads while using Kahoot because the app keeps track of how many students are playing and answering. So if a student is not answering, the teacher can assume that they are doing something else and discipline them accordingly for not following instruction. Next is an online stopwatch. Since Miss Elmore has a projector, she can display an online stopwatch on her board. I think if a student sees a timer while they are working, they will be more motivated to get their work done. Whether their work is on paper or on the iPad, they will not have time for distractions if they want to get their work done on time. By starting a stopwatch or timer, pressure is increased and students are encouraged to concentrate and work hard to finish their work on time. The last technology resource for Ms. Elmore is the Shepherd Software Brain Games, which will help strengthen her students' attention span. Games are really good at holding students' attention. Since they make people forget they are working and instead feel like they are playing, games have the capacity to change boring activities into enjoyable ones. Kids are therefore more likely to pay attention and advance during the educational process. Shepherd Software provides a variety of brain games that students can choose from to exercise the brain and increase their attention span. Moving on, I will talk about how this technology-rich lesson would be presented. The teacher will begin by introducing addition to the students. She will then explain, model, and demonstrate the lesson using a range of techniques, including manipulatives, drawings, and videos. How the teacher decides to teach the lesson is up to them. However, every student learns differently, and it is important for teachers to do their best to meet the needs of students who learn better in a different way. Whether the student learns by watching, touching, or listening, teachers should provide a variety of options when teaching that will cater to the needs of different students. Then, using an online stopwatch to help students focus, the teacher will set a timer for 30 minutes to allow students to practice working addition problems with the teacher's assistance by asking questions, having discussions, and completing worksheets. After students complete their math worksheet, the teacher will give the students a brain break. For students who are learning about addition for the first time, it can be a little overwhelming if they don't get it right away. It is important to not let students get frustrated when they're learning something new, or else you will lose their attention. Therefore, to help students' attention, the teacher will let students get on their tablets or computers to play any game that they would like for 5 minutes on the game website. After the brain breaks, students will play a Kahoot game that the teacher has prepared in advance as a class to see how well they have grasped the fundamentals of addition after having had some practice with it. The Kahoot game will act as a closure activity. The Kahoot game will have some addition problems that include images and some that do not. Students must utilize alternative methods that they have learned in class to answer addition problems when there are no accompanying illustrations. These methods may include manipulatives or drawing. Kahoot is a fun and engaging way for students to learn and also allows for teacher to assess how much the students learned. Additionally, playing Kahoot helps the teacher identify the learning styles of students through their use of preferred method to help them solve problems. And lastly, for assessment, to determine whether and to what extent students met the learning outcomes listed at the beginning of the lesson plan, the teacher will assess the students by using a fill in the answer test and requiring them to show their work. These over here are examples of the worksheet. By requiring examinees to write an answer rather than selecting one, fill in the blank questions allow students to come up with their own answer. Also, by requiring students to show their work, teachers can get a feel for what students understood and what they do not understand because they can actually see where students have made a mistake. And showing work also helps students improve their critical thinking and communication skills by pushing them to explain and write down their thought process. After the students have taken their paper test, they will have a one-on-one oral interview with the teacher. The interview will be 5 minutes long, and in that one-on-one interview, the teacher will ask students about what they have learned and what they still do not understand. By engaging in an unstructured conversation with each other, the student is more likely to be more open to discuss what they do not understand with just the teacher as opposed to them sharing that information in front of the whole class. After all, some students are more reserved